Welcome back, everybody, to Maniacal Music Musings. I'm your host. In the beginning, God made the sea, but on the seventh day, he decided to make me. My name is Jeremy, and I am Chunky. If I had $1 million, I'll tell you what a good boy I'd be. I'd wear 3 chains of gold down the street and rock the blue light special to the max. Hell, I might even show Enid some love to the nines with my sexy motherfucking self. My co-host,
Nice. I like how you do that.
thank you. My co-host, though, some say he's a new kid on the block, but he's just been beyond the cemetery for a while with his cryptic stench. He was born as a post-mortal ejaculation that dripped off a hammer-smashed face. He's addicted to vaginal skin for the continental breakfast he eats 7 days a week. If you ask him if he's crazy, he'll just reply, I come blood. Chancy motherfucking Grife.
Hold on. I let it get creepy there at the end for you, Chancy.
Hi. That's awesome.
Oh god, yes, I thoroughly enjoyed writing that intro more than I probably ever did in any of the other 100 ones I've written since we started this. But welcome back, everybody, to another, I'm sure is going to be an amazing show. I have no doubt in this one. It's going to be fucking incredible once we get into these albums thrice and enlighten you with their music. But first and foremost, of course, we have a guest, as always. I am very proud to have someone I happen to be the guest of a month ago or so. Mr. Rodney Martin, host of the Stoned Genius podcast.
Hey,
Welcome, sir.
Hey, what's up? And this is I'm looking forward to this conversation. So I have been introduced to some new music. Usually I would put thank you at the end of that, but we're gonna wait on that.
Nice.
I was telling my wife all day that I really felt like I needed like the first 5 minutes of a monologue just to get some things off my chest with Tomb of the Mutilated. But I want to wait because I think as we build suspense to that album, which I didn't know existed, weren't
you lucky?
I'm something. I am something. You're right about that. I'm something. Yep. So just so I'm not sure if I ever told you exactly what generally is in my playlist. So what I warm up to, what I pregame before I do a podcast, whether my own or someone else's, is it's generally like Sexy Red or Erica Banks. It's Cardi B. It's that genre of music. And I will tell you that I tried to incorporate all 3 albums that we had into my pregame ritual, and only 2 of the 3 made it. I'm not going to mention which ones yet, but I'm only going to say 2 of the 3 of our albums made the cut into being able to be pregameable.
My curiosity is at wit's end right here. Woo! I could so not picture which album that did make it. But folks, as always on this show, we start off with the guest album. Thank God. Rodney, what album did you want to bring to show us, and why did you want to bring this one?
I brought Gordon by Bare Naked Ladies, which I believe is the correct title, not the Bare Naked Ladies. I think it's just Bare Naked Ladies. But, it's an album that I don't know why. It's one that I ran across the group in Canada. They're a Canadian group, which is a great place to run across them in Canada. Being a Canadian group, and I saw them at a bar there in like 1990 or 91. And literally, the reason I went into the bar was it said Bare Naked Ladies here tonight. I was like, okay, why not? I'll go into that bar, sure.
The old bait and switch.
Yeah, that was, and when you think you're getting hot naked girls and you don't, it's almost like it's the masturbate and switch. You're welcome. So I went in and I saw them, and I liked it. There was a lot of energy. The crowd knew them being a Canadian band. So there's a song where macaroni is thrown. So they were all into that. And as an outsider, it would be like going to the Rocky Horror Picture Show at a theater in the 80s and not understanding what's going on with the crowd. So I didn't understand what was going on with the crowd. I actually bought the cassette tape from the band in the lobby or next to the bar or whatever afterwards. And then when I finally found the CD in probably 92 or 93, I had to go to a Kansas City record store that catered with imports because it was Canadian, it was an import record. So I had to find it in their imports. But I brought it because it high energy. I mean, even to this day, it's 30 years old, and I probably have not listened to that album or songs from that album in a good 10 years. But it's something that always sticks with me. And most of the songs are very fun. Like all the albums that we're going to discuss tonight.
I was waiting for it. I was waiting for the one snarkier mark at the end. I was waiting for it. But I think I got to tackle this one first, Chancy, because when it comes to Bare Naked Ladies, like most Americans, there's one song I know, and that's about it. It's Been 1 Week is basically the only song by Bare Naked Ladies I think I would know off the top of my head before I heard this album. So I had no idea what to really expect going, because I looked right away and I'm like, no, it's not that album. And I was like, all right. I was like, all right. I'm like, I don't know what to expect with this. I'm like, this actually listen to this album first, thank God. I didn't listen to the other album first, but and it's this album was actually good. I enjoyed it. I thought they were gonna be more. I guess I had a pre-negative invitation that I thought they were gonna be a little bit more poppy and a little bit more like a male version of Lumineers almost. But and I was happily mistaken, apparently, thank God. And I actually enjoyed the hell out of this album. The instrumentals on are freaking amazing. The lyrics are great. I like their themes for songs. I mean, they're jokey, like I like my bands to be. They like to make like little word jokes in their freaking songs. It was incredible. I actually enjoyed the hell out of it. And a few of these songs made to my like list on Spotify. So I actually enjoyed it. And it was when we get to my top 5, I'll get into that a lot more, but it was definitely a enjoyable album. I was happy I finally heard one of their full albums.
Can I ask what was your favorite song from the album?
Oh, when I get to my top 5, you'll find out.
Okay. Then
I don't want to give away the milk before the cow, you know?
Yeah, see, I was always trying to get the milk for free. So that was just me.
I think you meant to say you didn't want to put the cart before the horse.
No, I didn't want to get the milk before the cow. Come on now, you got you gotta get the cow first and be surprised by how the milk tastes, you know?
What? Yes, something like that.
Right.
Okay, so I'm glad that you enjoyed it though, and that's one thing that it was funny because back in the early 90s, well, for a long time I had Jeeps, and so in the summertime I had a very loud stereo system in there. And so when this top was off in the sun, I would be at lights and I'd be playing that, and people would be like, "Who is that?" And I'd be like, "Bare Naked Ladies," and they'd be like, "What?" And then it would get a conversation or whatever, and they'd be like, "Oh, I'll go find it." And I probably sent so many people to that record store looking for that album back then. But to me, it's still fun at this point, even 30 years after the albums come out, to hear that someone's heard it for the first time and enjoyed what they heard. So
I mean,
that's cool.
I probably wouldn't even know the name Bare Naked Ladies except for a strip club sign if it wasn't for American Pie introducing that song to me. So, I mean, everybody knew them after that movie. Everybody knew them because of that song. But
yeah, and and it's funny because I really preferred this first album. Like I wouldn't say they got more mainstream later on, but it was less about the, like you said, like the themes of the songs changed, I think, drastically, maybe not drastically, but over time. So I liked where this album started and ended myself, but I'm glad to hear that you enjoyed it as well.
Oh, I did, and well, last but certainly not least, I can't wait to hear what Chancy has to say about this album.
Well, I mean, unlike Jeremy, I had actually already known who, or I should say, I had heard of Bare Naked Ladies prior to them having been brought to the show. So when the album was actually listed off, and I pulled up the track list, and I saw, immediately recognized one of the songs on there because one of them was a pretty popular radio hit outside of 1 week. So I was like, oh, that's cool, you know. And then I played the album, and honestly, I mean, I really enjoyed it. It's one of those things where you kind of expect one thing going into it, and then you get something else completely different, but it's not in a bad way. It's one of those, like, you don't expect the songs to be structured the way that they are, or the instruments to be played that are chosen for the specific songs, or like in some circumstances, there are lyrics and melodies that conflict, and I love them situations kind of like that. Like when you have a nice little happy acoustical riff with morbid, just like depressing lyrics. That shit's hilarious to me. I'll always sign off on that. But yeah, I mean, honestly, when I listened to it, I came out with 8. I mean, I wasn't even able to limit down to just 5.
Oh yeah, I usually got 7 out of it. And Chancy, if I'm not mistaken, I kind of almost like heard like a early DFD type thing going on with this album as well. In a way.
I mean, definitely elements of stuff like from Committed to a Brighter Future, and maybe even a little bit of hint of Adultery, but not really though. I was going to say this, I mean, I guess maybe if you were to say like DFD combined with Real Big Fish, maybe that might have been the vibe.
After having to just listen to Sell Out multiple times for a bracket last weekend, yes, I could hear Real Big Fish in this as well. So, 100%. I don't think that song. I think they make it out of the second round, but I'm not a Real Big Fish fan. No, but well, what were your? I'm sorry, Chancy. Was your review completed before I interrupt
Yeah.
rudely?
No, you're good.
Okay.
That was good.
All right.
Well, I'm glad to hear that 2 people have now seemed like they very much enjoy that as well, because like I said, it's just different music. I mean, I'm going to say that there's another album on this that I would term as different music too, though. So here we have it. We'll have to discuss that when we get to it.
Indeed, we shall.
And there will be a bit of anticipation. But what were your top 5 for your own album there, Rodney? I'm dying to hear. And any honorable mentions you may have as well.
Yeah, so on my top 5, it always starts with The King of Bedside Manor. Love that song. I just absolutely love that song. And then I like right after that Box Set, because I think that's I remember box sets when people would actually go out and buy box sets before you would stream and download music and things like that. So I remember Box Set, and the way he goes through, like, disc 2, it was all brand new, an album was worth of hits, but we had to leave the whole disc blank because some other label bought them. And, just the way he goes through each disc, I always think is hilarious, because I remember, you would be so amped up to buy someone's box set, and it's almost exactly what you would get from their description of a box set. I thought New Kid on the Block is a great song. It reminds me of those times, because as someone that is about the same age as the Justin Timberlake, what NSYNC and Backstreet Boys, that I thought that was a very humorous song towards them. And then Grade 9, I think, is that would probably be my 4th song from them, and I started with number 1, 4th with them, and then my 5th would be my Yoko Ono, because I think that most people at some point in their life have or know someone that has a Yoko Ono like person with or around them. So I always thought that was a fun song as well. But most of those songs, there's a few that I may not listen to the whole song, but for the most part, any of those, the top eight songs, and I'm good with any of them. You put them on, and I'll get dancing, I'll get moving. That's for sure.
Yeah, I will. I will definitely say the first part of the album is better than the second half. I will say that 100%. I it was like they wound me up, and then I kind of just went back down, like, okay.
Yeah, and that's the only thing that I don't like about that album. That I think that the beginning and the end is very good, and they seem more compatible with each other. And I don't know if they're trying to bridge a gap and just change it up or something. But to me, that doesn't work like that. I mean, there's a reason that when downloading music was available, there was a shuffle put on there. So you didn't have to listen to the album the way that it was actually meant by the artist or producer, whoever, to put out.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a big concept album person, so I like to listen to a lot of albums the way they came out, because that's just the way they're meant to be listened to.
Damn, that would have been if I ever come back on again, Operation Mindcrime by Queensryche.
All right, we could definitely do a concept album type episode. I'm always down for that.
So I am not a Queensryche, and I know this is a real sidetrack. I am not Queensryche, but I used to work at a place where on the day of concerts, you could usually buy like good tickets back in the 80s, because they would let these blocks free on the day of. And so if I got like first 3 rows, I would go regardless of who was on stage. I was like, I'm in the front. And I went to see Operation Mindcrime at Kemper Arena with Queensryche, 87, 88, somewhere in that, whenever it came out. And I didn't have a concept of like a rock opera like that, and how it was done. Amazing. So I haven't thought of that album, and I don't know why I thought of it now, but probably because of the concept of it. But okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Side note over.
Hey, you're among people who like to go down wormholes on every show they do. So it's what we do.
Right.
But I had 7 for this album because no way I can narrow this down to 5. My first honorable mention was Hello City, because I just thought it was a great way to open an album. Kind of like it's almost like they're just talking to the audience at the beginning of a concert. So I enjoyed it. Number 6 for me was What a Good Boy, because I thought it was a funny, ironic song, and I enjoyed the hell out of it. I will say I didn't really like Bedside Manor. That song just didn't do it for me. I tried. I thought I would like it based on the name, but as soon as I got into it, I was like, not really getting it for me.
And I love that. Actually, at our place that we live at, they were having a karaoke party Saturday night, and they were just pulling songs off YouTube karaoke, and Bedside Manor was on there, and I was gonna do it, but I was too stoned. Because there's this point where I get stoned where I cannot even keep up with the pace of Bedside Manor. But my favorite part of Bedside Manor is Sticks, Domo Arigato, Mr. Roboto. Oh, that's my favorite part in there. I can't wait. I build with anticipation. Shame on you for not liking my favorite song on the album.
That one part I do like, because I do love Sticks. I love Sticks. So actually, speaking of box sets, that was actually I brought one album out of their 3 box set I had as a teenager on about a month or 2 ago on the show. I brought the Grand Illusion on. So, and I'm pretty sure.
That wasn't too long ago.
I think it was actually a show that we didn't get to do because the guests backed out or went silent or something. So I think we didn't get to do that one. But I also brought Pieces of 8 on a long time ago, and that also was from the same box set. I only got one album left in that box set to bring on someday. But my number 5 was, I forgot about this song for a hot second at the beginning of the show, but this song I had heard, I just never knew it was Bare Naked Ladies. I didn't. I thought it was like Los Lobos or some shit. Like if I had $1 million, I did not know that was Bare Naked Ladies. That was my number 5. That's a classic. I've heard that. I've heard that in the radio a lot over the years, and it's always been it's a fun song to sing along to when you're drinking. It really is.
It is.
Especially when you just change the lyrics up and make it crazier shit. But I've changed that into some real crazy shit. But my number 4, speaking of crazy, was Crazy, because I love bagpipe in any song, and that song was no exception to that rule. My number 3 was New Kid on the Block as well, because I also I was a kid in the '90s, so I grew up with all those boy bands, and I found the ironicness of that song freaking awesome.
Yes.
My number two was kind of almost the same reasoning, but my number two was Brian Wilson because I'm a huge Beach Boys fan, and also because I'm a huge Charles Manson history fan, and Brian Wilson ties deeply into that. So, and I love the breakdown. The breakdown at the end of that song is the reason it's number two, though, because the breakdown at the end of that song is fucking phenomenally done. Almost, almost reminiscent of like Dave Matthews' actual band, like how they break things down, like at the end of a song. It's just incredible. And my number one song, the song I like the best, was Enid.
Ah.
I listened to this album a week ago, so I can't tell you exactly why, 'cause I didn't write a note on that one apparently, but I enjoyed that song apparently because it was my number one. And I made this list and the list of the other album that wasn't mine a week ago, so because I fucked up and we couldn't record this last week like I wanted, like we were supposed to. But first time I ever did that actually, that pissed me off a lot that day. That put me in a bad mood. But
Well, and we'll get to that. We'll talk about that as well. But Enid, I do love Enid, and I think Enid is a solid follow up to Hello City. I mean, those are a strong two songs, in my opinion, to open this album. And I love Enid. It's just, I think some of the songs like If I Had $1 Million and Enid, I think probably 15 or 20 years ago when this album was probably more in my rotation, I guess I should say CD at that point, those were probably been on my list or at least higher on my list, appeared on the list. But I think I like them much more now, and maybe I just appreciate a couple of the songs a little bit more now than I used to.
yeah, albums change as you get older. The songs you hated when you were younger all of a sudden start making sense and become more relevant to you. So it makes sense. I mean, definitely does. But Chancy, what were your top eight as you said?
So my first honorable mention was If I Had $1 Million, obviously. And then, so number 7 for me was The Flag. Number 6 was Crazy. I like the bass line for Crazy. Crazy had a kick-ass bass line. Number 5 was I Love You. Number 4 was Good Boy. Honestly, 3 and 4 could have been interchangeable because I really liked Good Boy and Box Set because Box Set was my number 3. Number 2 for me was Grade 9 because it was really relatable. And then number 1 was also Enid for me. I really liked how, well, first off, Enid's just a very unconventional name. And then you have this whole song, this whole, I guess you'd call it a sonnet, if you will, just like wrapped up around this lady with this weird name, which is completely unexpected for the time in which it's like released and everything. I just thought it was awesome.
So here is an interesting side note to the name of that song. So I used to work for a video store back in the late 80s, early 90s, selling video equipment. And we used to sell the big 10-foot satellite dishes. So we could get literally shit from anywhere. And so this would have been the early 90s when this came out. So this album came out in 92. So this would have been 92, 93 time frame. And MTV wasn't showing nearly as much music, and they surely wouldn't have shown like this type of music. So I used to watch a Canadian music channel called Much Music. And every Friday night they would have videos, and I loved it because I could always count on Tupac Shakur's "I Get Around," which is one of my favorite songs of all time and favorite videos. But then that's where I really got to see this. And so one night they showed the video for Enid, and then they actually interviewed the guys because this is a Canadian station with Canadian rockers, and they wrote the song at a diner. And so diner, they reversed the letters and dropped the R, and that's where Enid came from. Dine.
Interesting.
Oh,
Yeah,
I still
That's
thought you were
cool.
going to say it was. I still thought you were going to say that it was the name of the waitress at the diner.
No, which would have been cool too. But I specifically remember them telling that because I think that was the first what they would call hit off there, because it's, you know, the If I Had $1 Million, much more recognizable than Enid, except
Yeah.
it's recognizable for it sounds not, it sounds, it has the, haven't you always wanted a monkey? And, I would buy you the Elephant Man bones, all those crazy Elephant Man bones. So it sounds kind of more like a joke. And so I think this was the first video, but I just remember them saying that they were at a diner and they were dining. And so they just dropped the R, changed it backwards. And that's how they came up with Enid. One of those things sometimes someone's going to be like choking and I will not remember how to do the Heimlich maneuver, but some reason I remember why Enid is named Enid by Bare Naked Ladies. So I'm sorry if you're choking at a diner that I happen to be at. Prognosis not good.
Prognosis negative. But oh, and actually, okay, I will say with Box Set, it was a good song. I did enjoy the idea of it, but it kind of, when I heard it, ICP did a song called Radio Star, where they did kind of the same thing. It was all about like if they were radio stars, and it was them jumping around in different genres to try to become radio stars. So they did like a boy band thing. They did a heavy metal thing. Like it was kind of funny. So
Yeah.
that was my mind the whole time I heard Box Set was that song, because it's a fun song. It's definitely a fun song they did. But I guess it's time to jump to my album. Build the suspense some more for the end, because when Gordon told me he wanted to bring Bare Naked Ladies, when Roddy told me he wanted to bring Bare Naked Ladies, see what I did there? But
I did.
I was like, all right. I listened to a couple samples of tracks, and I'm like, I really don't know exactly what I would put against this. I kind of wish I did Dog Fashion Disco now. That I thought about that tonight, but I really don't know what I would have brought against this at first glance. So I was like, all right, when I don't know what I would bring against something, I jump to the year it came out and see what else came out that year to keep, time similar at least. And I'm like 92, and one of the first motherfucking albums I see is, I'm like, there's not even a name on the album really, technically, but I recognize the album cover, and I'm like, ooh, I'm like, we haven't done this one yet. And I look at the album, like, and two of my favorite songs by this artist happen to be on this album. I'm like, all right, let's bring on Prince's Love Symbol album.
Oh man,
because
I thought you were still talking about the other album. Everything, your lead up to that, you totally had me. You're like, I love the album cover. You're like, a couple of my favorite songs. I'm looking at the other album, those names of those songs. I don't know how you're not talking about that one, but go ahead.
I because of this show, I became a huge Prince fan. And also, I believe we talked about Prince for a hot minute on my episode of your show. So I had a little nostalgia purpose there as well. But I'm like, all right, let's bring this album, because two of my favorite Prince songs are on this album. So we got to do it eventually. And I'm like, screw it. I always love discovering more Prince songs I'm going to love later. And I was not disappointed on this one either. I definitely found a lot more Prince songs to put in my playlist on Spotify that I never knew existed. So freaking A. That's why I love whenever a guest or I myself brings a Prince album on this show. I don't think you have brought one yet, Chancy. But so I was like, fuck it, let's bring Prince. You can't go wrong with Prince anyway. It's only close to bringing the Michael Jackson album. No one's gonna have a problem with it. So, R.I.P. Tito, by the way. R.I.P. Tito. But
Right.
I will. Yeah, I know. That was some sad news this morning. But no, Chancy, I said Tito. Told us we had dinner last night. Rush hour joke for anybody who doesn't get it. But Rodney, what did you think of Love Symbol?
I actually forgot. So I saw it, and then I pieced together that all the albums came out of the same year. And so I was thinking about this, and when I saw one of the songs, and I was just writing a note that I hadn't written down earlier that I wanted to remember, is like Sexy Motherfucker is on this song, or on this album. And when I was listening to it, I guess I only remember that hook. sexy motherfucker. And that's all I was listening to the rest of the song. And if I would have just been listening to the lyrics, I would have known it was Prince, but I wouldn't have known the song. All I knew, it surprised me that I didn't remember more of that song. So The Max, I really enjoyed the song The Max. My note on that was great fun song. The Segway 1 and the Segway 2 at the end. They used to do that on albums. Do they still do that on streaming? I don't know anymore, but those little, where they're doing that little, I'm just like, really? Prince, come on, man. I wrote down Blue Light. I do have an asterisk next to it. Now, I don't know whether that's a good asterisk or a bad asterisk. I'll tell you on the next album, if there's an asterisk, all bad. I can tell you that 100% in advance. No guessing on the next album. On this album, I don't know, but my note for Blue Light is it's reggae-ish.
Yeah.
Maybe I didn't pronounce that right. Reggae-ish. Maybe that's better pronunciation of it. But, it just kind of seemed, here's what it made me think of. It made me think of Box Set from Gordon, because it just seemed out of place. Like it made me, because in Box Set, there's, it makes you scratch your head and wonder where my taste went. And I kind of thought of that with Prince. I was kind of like, eesh. But I think at this time also Prince was going through the whole name change, trying to get out of his contract and all this thing. So I think he may have been trying to do some like, hey, look, I'm a reggae singer now. And just so you know, that is not my actual impersonation of Prince. But I mean, it just seemed really out of place and I love reggae music, but I don't think that was a good asterisk next to that. I hadn't heard some of the songs. Arrogance, I hadn't heard. I liked it. I thought it was a little fast paced. The Flow, it says, here's my note, rap song. And then I wrote, no, thank you, Prince. And then also I've just noticed here I did this for a reason. Every time I wrote down you, I just used the letter U, because that seems to be what Prince does all the time. Because the Y and the O, that is way too much work. I need an assistant or something for that. So all my notes, I just used you as well. But The Flow, I wrote rap song and no thank you, Prince. 7 is the only song that I remember being a radio played song that I really remember hearing from the radio, and wasn't really my cup of tea. Once again, I think he was going through this period of trying to get out of a contract, and maybe he was just exploring himself. I do know about this time frame because his club was only open like 90 to 92. I went to his club in Minneapolis while he was there. And what he was playing was if someone goes, oh, you heard Prince? It was Prince that I was hearing. That's what I was hearing. So this album, I liked it, but it's not what none of these would have made. I don't think any of these songs would have made my top 20 all-time Prince songs. And I do have them, but not from this album.
Yeah, I mean, I get that. I mean, there's only a couple that would make like my top 20 of all-time Prince songs off this album. I mean, 84 is a better album. Purple Rain's a better album. And what the hell's the one I'm thinking of? I can't think of.
Yeah, I mean, oh God, Purple Rain. That came out like my freshman, sophomore year in high school. Man, that was I remember being in Bella Vista, Arkansas in the summer and staying up on a Friday night to watch Friday night videos. And Prince's Purple Rain the video was on. Oh my God. I mean, that was like a mini movie. That was awesome.
And I can't think. There's another Prince album that's freaking amazing. Oh, Sign of the Times too. Like I would say that's probably a better album too. But I mean, this album had some classics on it, and it had some new found loves of mine. So, and it wasn't so much Prince rapping; it was the new Power Generation rapping.
Okay,
I don't think Prince did much of the rapping.
Hold on, let me make note of that real quick. not Prince. It's the new power generation. Got it.
Yeah. I tell. Yeah. Well, Chancy, what did you think of this Prince album?
I mean, honestly, as far as Prince albums go, I wasn't too thrilled about it. I knew it was in that period when he was going through the contract disputes and the whole name change and everything. I mean, honestly, it was better than my album, that's for sure. But it's Prince, so I mean that kind of goes without saying.
Yeah,
Uh, I
yeah.
didn't realize that one of the songs that I put on my top 5 was actually on this album, so I got that. That was kind of a bonus.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, I got 10 from this album. How can I not? It's motherfucking Prince. But and speaking of motherfuckers, my first honorable mention was actually "Sexy Motherfucker" because it's not one of my favorite songs he does. I like the chorus in the middle. That's about it. Like the rest of it is all like to me just you could have shortened that song down in like 2 minutes and been good. Like it could have been an interlude song, or just you opening an album, just Prince opening an album saying, "I'm a sexy motherfucker." Like that's all I need to hear. That's all I need to hear. But because I mean, he is. Come on, it's Prince. But my number 9 was "Love to the Nines" because it's a decent song. It's a decent, good love song in a Prince style. I couldn't hate on it. My number 8 was "Blue Light" because that song was actually funky as hell. I actually enjoyed that. I don't know, Prince doing reggae, I could see it. I think he did it on a couple tracks on this album, and like he did reggae style on it, and I definitely can enjoy him doing reggae a little bit. I mean, he's no freaking actual reggae star. He's no Bob Marley for God's sake, but he can definitely pull it off a little bit. My number 7 was "I Want to Melt with You" because I kept thinking the whole song. I'm like, this should have been the freaking actual version they used for the Eminem commercial, not that crappy version. Like number 6 for me was "The Flow" because the flow was I liked it. That was funky as hell, and I love when Prince gets funky. He really is a master of instruments. But same for number 5, same reasoning. The Max. The Max was freaking incredible. That was such an incredible like combination of different instruments and sounds. My number 4 though was "Three Chains of Gold" because honestly, that had to be the most epic song on this whole album. Like just the way it was put together, it was the most epic song. It had like a fantasy element to it almost, and I love the music in it. The music in it really, I had it. I was on my lunch. I'm way back from my errand on my lunch break. I had that blast into my car and the bass rattling with it and everything. I was just like, "Oof, this song is fucking off the hook." I honestly never saw Prince putting that together. Same as my number 3, The Continental. I never heard that song either, and it was freaking phenomenally well put together, and just a freaking head banging, leg shaking song. Like you were just, I could see myself dancing to that at a freaking wedding if I was drinking. But I mean, I can't see myself dancing if I'm not drinking. But that's definitely a song I would be enjoying the shit out of that party. And the top 2, interchangeable, 100%. But they're the 2 that everybody else would pick on this as top 2, I'm sure. But number 2 was "My Name Is Prince" because what a way to open an album. And I love the lyrics of it. I love the rap part in the end of it. Sorry, Rodney, but I love the rap part at the end of it because it's for Prince. It's new. I never really heard music of his with rap in it, and it kind of like I was like, shit, he kind of did evolve in the '90s and go with the flow. But and my number 1 was of course "Seven" because that's one that definitely would be my top 20 Prince songs, if not in the top 10. It's got a spiritual, metaphysical element to it. And I mean, everybody knows the number 7 is sacred to for a lot of different reasons. So I freaking love that Prince hit on that and went with it. And I just love the beginning 30 seconds of it are freaking incredible. Just him singing without any instruments is freaking incredible in that song. I don't know. That song always stuck out to me as a great Prince song. So, but what were your top 5, Rodney?
Let's see. My top 5 would be number 5, "Blue Light," my reggae-ish song. It was just different for him, but I did like it. Number 4 is "Arrogance." I did enjoy that very much. Number 3, "Sexy Motherfucker." it probably would have been higher if I would have actually remembered the words more than I actually did. I mean, because that's one thing. Like Gordon, I still remembered all the words 30 years later. Sexy motherfucker. I felt like I hadn't really heard the song before until I listened to it on the album. And then the Continental, number 2, and then number 1 is the Max. I thought that was a lot of fun. I don't ever remember hearing the Max before.
Same. I mean, it was definitely a new experience for me as well. And if I'm not mistaken, isn't that the name of the place they went, the club they went to on Saved by the Bell? Because that's what I kept thinking about that whole song.
Okay, first of all, even if I knew the answer, I wouldn't admit to knowing the answer. The fact that you even think you know the answer, that scares me a little too. Not as much as the last album we're gonna do, but pretty darn close. Pretty close.
Yeah, I grew up on Saved by the Bell. Come on now. But
Mm.
yeah, it's one of those things. But Chancy, what are your top 5?
So my number 5 was actually Sexy Motherfucker because I was just kind of like, it was okay. Number 4 for me was Damn You. Number 3 was Loved in the Nines. I thought that was a pretty good one, I'd have to say. The Sacrifice of Victor was also really good. And then number 1 also for me was Seven. That was actually, like I said, I didn't even realize that was on this particular album and was pretty fucking stoked when I found out that it was. So it was like a little bonus.
I'm
Yo,
gonna.
go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say I'm gonna have to go back and listen to the Sacrifice of Victor because all I wrote in my note was a Prince song. And literally I can't remember. And it's funny because above that, 3 Chains of Gold, which none of us mentioned, I wrote down Prince's Paradise by the Dashboard Light. That it seemed to have kind of that feel to it for some reason.
Yeah, I can see where you get that.
I actually did mention that one. That was my number 4.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, but I also pulled 10 out of that album, so I mentioned pretty much every song.
Yeah, so after like 4 or 5, then I'm like, what? Who? What?
Yeah, that's kind of how I feel. That's how I feel when it happens too. So don't feel too bad about
it. Sorry, I'm gonna blame the sativa. If it was an indica, boom, I'd be focused right on you. I'd be at least you'd think I was focused on you because I'd just be staring at the camera.
Ooh, shiny light. But yeah. Well, folks, we apologize for this segment before we get to it, but I guess it is time to go to this so-called album that Chancy wanted to bring on. Chancy, why? Just fucking why?
Honestly, it's kind of one of those things where I actually really wish that I had brought the Guar album that I had brought a few weeks back when we did another series of albums that all came out this year. Because I had mentioned on that particular album that it was between that album and this album. And it kind of was one of them situations where at the moment, until I kind of, made my case for it, that guest wasn't particularly into the Guar thing, but would have been into the album I picked this time around, which was Cannibal Corpse's Tomb of the Mutilated, which, I mean, I'm a metal guy. I'm not too ashamed of that notion, but like, not a real huge Cannibal Corpse fan in this particular time frame. I preferred it once they got their new singer, Corpse Grinder, and I was really kind of disappointed to learn that this particular album was actually the Chris Barnes era, and Chris Barnes is kind of if anybody really follows along with the genre and stuff like that. But yeah, basically.
Well, I mean, Rodney, as our guest, you get the pleasure of going first on this one. What did you think of Cannibal Corpse? I am dying,
Okay,
mutilated and
so
dying right now.
I don't know. I couldn't tell you anything about Guar from this group. The only reason I would have enjoyed talking about Guar is they're outside of Lawrence, Kansas. There used to be this place called the Outhouse. And a lot of you can go to YouTube and look up the Outhouse Lawrence, and you can see there's a short documentary which Guar played there. They actually interviewed them in the 90s. And basically this was a cinder block death trap out in the middle of nowhere, which is a great place for nuclear radiated Ninja Turtles, which I know that's not exactly what Guar is. I'm just paraphrasing their look.
No, it fits.
Okay.
It
I was just
fits.
trying to paraphrase their look from what I remember. So at least I would have had a tie into this. I am going to go through this. I have notes for every song.
Oh, nice.
Okay. So first of all, I listen to songs that regularly include ass eating and eating from the front to the back and the back to the front and all these things. But even when I saw the album cover for Tomb of the Mutilated, I was like, oh. Okay. So song number 1, Hammer Smashed Face. Here's my note. Yes, please. Smash my face.
Yeah.
First song. Very first song. I'm not even sure how far I made it into the song before I wrote that note down. It literally could have been the first bar. Here's the other thing. I wouldn't have known. I'm not even sure these were different songs. If I think about it, I'm not sure there was a discernible difference between Hammer Smashed Face, which in retrospect, this was less of a note than it was a command. I was looking for anyone to find a hammer and smash my face. Because it was Hammer Smash Face followed up. Oh my gosh. And I want to say followed up, but it could have been the same song. I don't know. I'm still telling you. I don't fucking know. I Come Blood. And here's my note to the song I Come Blood. No, but my ears ejaculate blood. Okay,
Yeah.
So once again, I have either listened to like an 8-minute song at this point, or I've listened to 2 songs, which here's another thing. I talk a lot about how I do believe that there's a God or something in control of the universe, but I'm not so keen on the devil. I don't think that we definitely need eternal damnation. So I've been very iffy on the devil. After listening to this album, I 100% believe in the devil, and I'm pretty sure he made an appearance or 3 on this album. I don't know. I can't even tell you what track, because once again, all the tracks blend together. I don't know if I pointed that out, but this could have just been one 39-minute song instead of 10 shorter songs. Okay, I digress. Oh my God. You would think that when you come blood, that the next song would give you some sort of relief. And perhaps this does if you're addicted to vaginal skin. Note on this song is just what? And here's the only surprising thing on this note. Why is there only one question mark after what? When I wrote what, there should have been like 6 question marks. Like, what? Like, at this point, I should have been more disturbed than this note seems to have led on. But that is going to change. I'm telling you right now, before we get to the end of this album, that will change. So, and if this wasn't in the movie Terrifier, it should have been Split Wide Open. The note to this song, my head feels this way. We are only on 1, 2, 3, 4 songs. So 4 songs in, I've already wanted to smash my face in with a hammer. I feel like I've been split wide open. And my ears seem to be ejaculating blood and probably gray matter at this point. My brain is wanting to get out of there because the next song is Necropedophile. I mean, pick one or the other. Are you gonna fuck children or are you gonna fuck dead people? Because fucking dead children just seems to be a little bit overboard. And here's the thing. I'm just guessing that's what the song is about because of the title. And here's my exact note. If you remember an addicted to vaginal skin, my note was what? My note for necropedophile is what? Double up. What? So that is my note. And once again, I believe Satan during that song was telling me what the song was about, but I kept holding on to my cross and rosary beads and just chanting, please take me to my happy place. Please take me to my happy place.
Rodney, I will say, if you actually read the lyrics page in that song, God bless you. If you do, it's exactly what that song is about, and the lyrics are, for me, they're disturbing. And I am a horrorcore rap loving juggalo, and those lyrics disturb me.
Well, here is one of the blessings of I have ears that are 57 years old, and I love loud music. Like I probably have my headset turned up. Well, appropriate for obviously a 57-year-old guy, but I'm going to say my hearing's not the best, so I guess I'm going to be glad and thankful. Thank you, man. I'm going to be glad and thankful that I could not understand. And I was listening through Amazon Music, and often they have a lyrics option. I will tell you, on none of these 10 songs did I ever even feel drawn to touch the lyrics button. Never once did I go, I don't what did he say? What did Satan just try to into my ear? I never once looked at that. Maybe I won't. And I will tell you, if you were thinking about the way songs are laid out, if you're going to think of a necropedophile, you would imagine there would be a cryptic stench. Note to that seems right. That's the only note. That's if you could even take one note and put a positive spin on it. Unfortunately, it's for cryptic stench, and the note is seems right. Entrails ripped from a vagina's cunt. Okay,
Virgin's cunt. Yes.
I'm sorry, virgin's cunt. Yeah, I mean a vagina's cunt. That would seem redundant. So thank you for. Here's my deal. I once wrote a song called "I Want to French Kiss Your Vagina." It was a love ballad to my wife, which we deemed a little bit too overboard. And it was entrails ripped from a virgin's cunt. And I did write down vagina. So I was just reading the teleprompter in my hand. I had vagina on my mind, I guess. I mean, literally, I was trying to have anything else on my mind at this point. And I'm not sure why I would I'm not sure why I would go, cryptic stench, vaginas. I don't know why that would be on my mind. And I apologize. I had a question. I know that my note on this one, seeing the title, as I wrote down, maybe I wrote it down wrong. I had post-mortal ejaculation. And I'm like, I didn't want to listen to the words, but do they mean mortal or mortem? Like post-mortem would be after you're dead, and mortal is, so I don't know. And once again, I did not press the lyrics button to try to get any. Like I had a question and I was like, I don't care about the answer, honestly. Like literally, if you tell me, Jeremy, if you go, I have a funny story about this and it happened in a diner and the girl's name would eat, I don't give a shit. For this album, I don't think there's anything you can tell me on this album that would make me go, I should revisit this with a new ear for this group.
I mean, honestly, you can blame Jim Carrey for this band actually kind of taking off.
Whoa!
Because they actually made a cameo appearance in the background of Ace Ventura.
No,
they really did. Yeah, they're the band that's playing in the background in the original Ace Ventura when they go to that bar.
Oh my God. Now I'm going to have to look that up. So here's an interesting side note that I wrote down that of all these groups, I think the only one still making music from 1992.
Is Cannibal Corpse.
Yes. I was like, are
Yeah.
you fucking kidding me?
So how about them fucking apples?
I mean, really, we lose Prince. I mean, and then you get the breakup of the Bare Naked Ladies because we creative differences. Get over it. You guys are old now. Get together. Do the reunion tour. So yes, I was also surprised that I saw stuff still coming out. Let's see. The last two songs were Beyond the Cemetery. I don't have any notes for that. I think by this point I was past it. I was glad to see that Icon Blood showed up again because I had skipped it earlier, and so I didn't fear nearly as bad as skipping the live version also. But my note was, I'm glad this is the one they chose to record live.
So there is actually kind of a reason behind that. And it's not really anything to do with like the song or anything to that effect, as much as it is there's like that whole sequence there with the massive blast beats and the fast, pace guitar play and all that shit. And the new lead singer, Corpse Grinder, he always starts that song off basically just being like, if you want, you can try and keep up with me headbanging, but you're gonna lose. Because I mean, the guy's built, he's literally built just like a giant he's literally built like a brick shit house. Just ridiculously oversized, muscular feller. And he's like one of the only metal singers that hasn't had to have some type of neck or back fusion from doing all the headbanging over the years.
I think you
Probably.
called him feller with a ER on the end, he's a feller. I don't think you can term a headbanger as a feller. Hey, feller, how you doing? I don't think that I'm trying to, hey, feller, hey, partner. See, some of these words just don't work for headbangers.
I mean, you put a little bit of a deep monotone on that. Hey, feller. I mean, it kind of works. I
Okay,
can see it.
now you're crossing over in Deliverance, and unless we're gonna do like movie soundtracks, we don't need to talk about Deliverance.
Yeah, well,
Right.
I'm pretty sure Cannibal Corpse does homages to Deliverance in a lot of these songs. But
Oh my gosh.
I will. I all right. I mean, Chancy has brought some shit on this fucking show, but a band I literally can't understand one word they're saying unless I'm looking at the lyrics, and then I can kind of hear it. I have to. I did venture to the lyrics tab on Spotify because I'm a sucker for pain, I guess, and I wanted to give my eyes some pain. And I like dark lyrics, but holy fucking shit, Cannibal Corpse is a whole nother level. There's a reason I never got into this band, I'm guessing. And besides the fact you can't understand damn word they're saying, it pretty much is probably the lyrics. I will say the guitar and drum are beyond fucking amazing and on point. That literally is how I ranked my top 7 is by how the guitar and drums were. That's how they got ranked. It had nothing to do with the lyrics or the songs. Okay, song tells me I played a little bit into it too, but it had nothing to do with the lyrics. I'll put that much down on it at least. But Jesus Christ, I almost thought this was your nuclear option.
Nope. That's funny.
God.
I was actually going to bring that up, that this was not the nuclear option.
So what
It's,
is the nuclear option?
we
I'm
won't
not
find out until he brings
yeah, I
it.
was going to say, I'm not telling because I don't want to give him the opportunity to even think about trying to figure it out and listening to it. And because if he listens to it, he'll inherently refuse on the spot. Because it was literally so bad that even I couldn't get through it.
Mm.
So I made I played part of the album for my wife. And by part of the album, I mean like 3 seconds. Because honestly, I could have let it go on longer. She wouldn't have known any difference. So I let her hear a few seconds of the music, and I just pointed out, I go, there is a reason that our lovemaking soundtrack is like it is. I go, we could be making love to this. And I said it jokingly, and she goes, who do you think has lost their virginity to this album? And I literally was appalled to think that someone may have lost their virginity with this album playing in the background.
You know,
Well,
that's almost a guarantee.
I
It's almost a
know.
guarantee.
Oh, and that's what hurt the most. Like
And
usually you can go, ha ha, that's a joke, ha ha, and not pay attention. But I was like, oh fudge. I mean, because that sticks with you. I mean,
I
you're gonna remember
literally,
that.
and if anyone who did lose their virginity to this album, I'm pretty sure that she hoped afterwards that her entrails were ripped. So, yeah, I mean, it's just, oh, I mean, I could picture the type of girl that would lose her virginity to this album, and it's a scary
Oh.
picture.
Does she? Hold on. The over under on the number of teeth, original teeth that she has, and who are we kidding? She's not going to be able to afford to get replacement teeth. I'm saying the over under on the number of teeth in this girl's head, like 6. Like she has 6 teeth. That's my guess.
And a lot.
I'd go with over.
Okay.
I
I'm
mean,
just saying, and I'm not opposed to that. It really all depends on the placement of the teeth, of how acceptable few or many teeth are. Yeah.
I mean, they either got to be pretty to look at. They either got to be pretty to look at, or they got to be positioned perfectly for a good gum job. But either way.
Yep. Yeah.
Either way. But Chancy, I don't even want to ask, but what are your top 5 in this album?
Anyway, number 5 was Addicted to Vaginal Skin, and the only reason I put that on the list was because of the sample at the very beginning, because that's an actual audio sample. And then number 4 was Beyond the Cemetery. Number 3 was The Cryptic Stench. Number 2 is Hammer Smash Face, because that's, I mean, honestly, I understand the joke for not being able to tell the difference between track 1 and track 2, but I mean, in reality, you know, paying attention to the 2 sounds of the separate tracks, I mean, you can definitely tell the main difference between the 2, I should say, because Hammer Smash Face has a lot more going on with it than I Come Blood, which also it happens to be my number 1, mostly just because of the fact that that's like what they end almost every show with. And Corpse Grinder always leans out and he's like, "This is a song about shooting blood out of your cock."
Which, oddly enough, is the pickup line I used on my wife.
and look at you. It works 60% of the time, every time.
Yep.
Well, if you even can, Rodney, what are your top 5 on this album?
I don't. I can't. I think I honestly couldn't think of anything I would personally do on this planet that would put me in hell. But I do think if I picked the top 5 on here, and the reason that I would go to hell is not the reason you think. The reason is because the other songs would feel left out. So I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take 10 songs, and they're all going to tie equally for first or last. It depends. Are you a glass is half full of whiskey or a glass is half empty of whiskey? But I'm going to let you choose. They are all tied, all 10 of them together.
Yeah. No, I don't blame you. I don't blame you at all. And in all reality, like I said, as soon as I saw the layouts for it, I really wished that I had the ability to have brought that Guar album, because I really think it would have been a lot more of an amusing and interesting, dialogue-filled episode. Because I mean,
well, here, let me just say this about Jeremy real quick. Is last week, so we're getting ready the day to record, and he goes, "Hey, did I send you our albums?" I said, "No, you didn't." So he sent them over to me, and here, it's me. It's not you, Jeremy. It's me. I said, "Hey, Jeremy, can we postpone? I would love to listen to the albums. Ooh, I want my ear holes to enjoy the music that you want to share with me. And I feel that I would do your show a disservice if I had it put your music in my ear holes. And what you should have said, Jeremy, is, well, you know what?
Are you
Let me
sure about?
save-
Are you
let
sure
me-
about that?
Yeah, let me save you a lot of trouble here. Don't listen to them. So you can imagine how angry I was at myself, just at myself, when I'm listening to this album, knowing that I could have skipped listening this whole album by saying, no, I have to do this last week. So it's really on me. But Jeremy, a heads up, if Cannibal Corpse Cannibal Corpse ever comes up again as being an album that you may share or Chance may share with a guest, maybe not make it an absolute requirement. Say, hey, if you want to listen to the album, if you want to come face to face with Satan, here, listen to this album. Otherwise, you can just be there for the conversation. That's all I'm saying.
I'm gonna put it this way: if I have to suffer, so does everybody else. But
Well, you're a bastard then, okay? I just want that to be on the record.
in a previous life, that's very true. In a previous life, that's very true for other reasons. But and like I said, and oh yeah, your whole glass full, glass half full, glass half empty of whiskey. I think for
Yes.
this album, you need to have like 10 empty glasses of whiskey. But
Oh, yeah.
th-
Oh
yeah,
my gosh. What I should have done, I should have had a drinking game for every time I couldn't understand what was being said, I would take a drink.
You would have
You'd
drank
be out.
yourself to death.
I know I would have. And you know what? I'm gonna say, and I'm gonna say that doesn't sound like a horrible option after listening. And I will be honest, I would listen to each song until words were being sung. And that's when I kept saying, I think this is the same song. I think someone's just fucking with me. They changed the title and they're expecting me to pay for 10 new songs when it's only one new song. So, but I will also mention this. I am grateful that I had this experience because I have often boasted to my wife that my powers of sleep are impenetrable. Like I said, I've slept through hurricanes, I've slept through tornadoes, I've slept through all kinds of natural and unnatural things going on. And I have done it sleeping like a little baby. But I will tell you, I've said that nothing could keep me awake, and I was wrong. If someone played this in my ear hole, like if I was being tortured and they played this in my ear hole, I would be making shit up. I know where the bodies are. I know where everything is. Please just make it stop going in my ear hole. So thank you for letting me come to that realization that I'm not quite as strong as I thought I was. Who knew it was going to take Cannibal Corpse and the Tomb of the Mutilated to make me come to that realization?
Glad I could help facilitate that for you.
Well,
I hope this doesn't sway your opinion on my ability to hold a conversation, though.
oh, you sure know how to pick a conversation starter, Chancy. I'll say that much. But
Yeah, well.
see, as I said, Chancy, for this one, I ranked them solely for the guitar and drum alone. Lyrics have nothing to do with this. Names of songs, possibly a little bit, but
naturally,
I had 7 because I love the guitar and drums on 7 of them. I was blasting this and I still can hear the fucking lyrics. But
if you tell me you were making love to someone to this song, I'm ending this interview right now. Don't even think about it that long. No, it's a very easy yes, no.
I was at work, 1, so no, definitely not. And 2, my wife is pregnant, and that probably would cause damage to this songs. To these songs.
I don't know why being at work is gonna stop you. Hey-o.
Right.
I mean, if you're gonna do it, you might as well get paid for it.
I mean, funny story. I used to work from home, and that was actually kind of true. But
Hey-o.
But my first honorable mention in this one was "Entrails Ripped from a Virgin's Cunt," mainly because of the song title I had to put on the list somewhere, and because it's just such an absurd, horrible song title. But the guitar in it wasn't horrible. My number 6 was Hammer Smash Face because I heard of this song. I can't say I've ever listened to it, but I've heard of it. It's on a bracket somewhere, Chancy, in a metal bracket. I know it is because I remember typing it, but
Probably.
it's in there. But my number 5 was Postmortal Ejaculation. Because I hope I can do that after I'm postmortal. But my number 4 was, and I'll be doing it Beyond the Cemetery, which is my number 4. What? No fucking high tap on that. But my number 3 was the Cryptic Stench because name of the song, and it was a phenomenal guitar riff. And my number 2 was Addicted to Vaginal Skin because I just read the title and I was like, why? And then I read the lyrics and I was like, why with 20 question marks? But my number 1, though, of course, had to be I Come Blood, the live version, just for the first line he says.
Right.
I literally made my friend Joe at work listen to the beginning of that song. And he's a metalhead, and he still was like, I don't listen to Cannibal Corpse for reasons. And I'm like, oh, there's plenty of reasons why not to listen to Cannibal Corpse, so you don't have to name them.
Yeah.
Well,
Yeah, I mean, it's... Go ahead.
Sorry, I was just gonna say I just came to the realization now that I listened to this in my Amazon Music, and if it starts fucking recommending stuff, like when I'm not paying attention and it rolls over to new songs, if this stuff is in my mix, I'm gonna have to cancel my whole Amazon Music membership. So thanks a lot.
That's hilarious. That's hilarious.
You're gonna get a pop up tomorrow. You like I Come Blood. Now enjoy I Shit Fetuses.
Yeah, and then just imagine the type of drug company ads I'm going to start. They're going to be like, oh, this guy comes blood. We got a pill for that. There's your hi-hat for you.
No, it's not going to be ads for pill companies. It's going to be ads for lawyers who do the side effect freaking trials. Because did you take any of these pills that make you come blood? So it's gonna be one of those things. But
I forgot I forgot I had a button that I should have done my whole review of this album at, and I could have just started here. And every once in a while you'd hear regular row. Oh my gosh. I will tell you also, listening to that sensor buzzer in my ear, still more enjoyable for this guy than listening to Cannibal Corpse, Tomb of the Mute. I need to stop saying that out loud because my phone, everything is listening to me right now. And I am not going to be happy with the results. I mean, and if this skewers my porn, if Pornhub is listening and this skewers my porn results, I'm really not going to be happy.
That's going to be, I mean, honestly, I don't see that happening, but you never know. These things can happen.
I mean, Pornhub's going to be like, he likes Necro what? Oh, hell no. We're blocking this guy.
Yeah. Hold on. Block. Hey, that would be the ultimate cock block. Hey-o.
Right. You're not wrong, though.
So I am going to, and I don't care that I have love symbol in here. I'm going to leave that. And this is the page of notes that I have for Tomb of the Mutilated. And I'm not going to roll it up and smoke it, but I am sure going to light it on fire and make sure there is no trace of this Actually, now that I think about it, I am going to type this out, and then I'm going to just put this at someone's house, and it could be used against them in a court of law. Like if they ever do something bad and they find this, people will just be like, they're a horrible person. Look, this was just a note laying on the ground.
It was just there.
It was.
You just gave me some ideas. But folks, we gave you 2 albums tonight in the Heat and Polish shit, but 2 albums at least we brought you, and we hope you enjoyed those 2. For the Heat and Polish shit, I am truly sorry and apologize to our audience for having to.
No. It's 2 albums and a round of enhanced interrogation techniques. That's all.
Yes. Yeah, that sounds great. You know what? I was also just thinking that is kind of baffling. So as I'm doing podcasts, sometimes I run across people that are putting out their own music, or they're writing and publishing their own books, which has very different thresholds that you need to cross to be able to get it out. So this album in 1992 had to be put out by someone. Like there's a company behind this album. Like right now someone could self-publish this and put it out on the internet and you'd be like, "Oh, it just got there, they put it there." But I just came to the realization that someone said, "Hey, I heard this band, they're great. The lyrics are really catchy." I mean, I'm not saying it's another West Side Story, but I could see one of their albums being turned into a musical. And someone said, "Yes, let's move forward with this." Someone did that in 1992, and now that also I don't know. Like I said, I grew up. I'm more at that time. I probably dressed more like Rick Astley, and he was probably on my playlist too. So that's probably where I was at 1992.
Well, all I can say is I'm pretty sure someone spray painted a pentagram on the ground and made a deal, and that's how this album got made. But it's quite possible. But
Yeah.
we brought you 3 albums, as they're so called, tonight, folks, and we hope you enjoyed them. We will, of course, be back next week with another episode, and wait till you see the albums on that one. That's payback for Chancy. Payback for Chancy. Because it's
You know what?
Chancy's favorite.
I will be listening from afar for that one, but I'm going to be this is going to be like a threesome. I'm going to be like, I'm just sitting this one out. So I'm going to sit out the next one. I will just listen to you guys because I will tell you it was very fun. It was I was surprised at how much notes, how much I got into. I don't say I was going to half-ass it, but I mean, if anyone knows the real me, there's a higher probability of me half-assing it than not half-assing it, and I didn't. So I took a lot of notes for both albums, including 3 pages of notes for my own album. But it was a lot of fun. So I'm very appreciative of you guys asking really a non-audio file that to be on the program. So thank you very much.
Oh, my pleasure. After
Oh,
Ring Talk, I
absolutely.
had to get you on here. But before we wrap it up, of course, tell them about your show, Rodney, and tell them where they can find your show and you.
So, yeah, the podcast is called The Stone Genius. So we do mostly long form long form interviews like I did with Jeremy. It's a lot of fun. I have a lot of different people on there from all walks of life and with all types of backgrounds. So it's a lot of fun. You can find it anywhere your podcasts are found. I appreciate that.
Well, there you go, folks, and be sure to go check out the episode I was on because it was a damn good conversation for sure. It was fun as hell, and we were all over the map. It was 2 guys who like to jump down wormholes, and we had fun with it. But a lot of random places. But Chancy, where can they find you besides digging the hole in the backyard to put this album you brought back into?
Well, I mean, Instagram and TikTok, it's the Red Eye Roundtable, and on X, it's Red Eye Table, and the darkest recesses of your mind, finding the worst things that I can possibly think of, just to make your day that much worse.
Yeah, and you don't disappoint a lot of times. That's the scary part. But, folks, you can find both your musers on Facebook as the Uncensored, Unapologetic, and Untamed UQ Podcast Collective. You can find us on the Gram and XX Baby as that Juggalo Bastard. You can find us on TikTok as at Juggalo Bastard Podcast. And you can find us on YouTube as Maniacal Music Musings, where you can see my pretty face, but not so much Chancy's. But be sure to come back and check out the next episode. And by the time this releases, we will be done with the top 50 goth songs bracket, and we will be on to the next topic. Whoever wins the wheel spin will get the pick as always. Until next time, folks, have a good night and try not to dream of Cannibal Corpse because you won't sleep. Have a good one.